Welcome to one of 2001 class. A remake, essentially. I made this deck in like September 2022. Doing it again a lot later. I drew this myself. Okay, it's kind of decent, I think. Hi, Clifton. Yay, it's just happy. Anyway, so let's get on with it. After all, I need a winner here sometime. Red is boys, blue is girls. Okay, let's start. Here we have, okay, just to clarify. Just whoever you need to know. This is gonna take a long time, so just guess who you think will win. Eventually, this is like the first major fronts that'll happen. Adam and Matthias attack Genesis. Me and Arian have done it to fights a lot recently, but now we're starting to calm down. That's the whole murdering each other thing. So we also have Arian attacking, and Nicholas is attempting to send supplies via near and Lewis' ports. Send supplies. While Genesis is essentially surrounded. We also have the girls up here sending support down, and they send some soldiers to land in Matthias, on Matthias' northern coast, and they start to capture land. Matthias can no longer attack really that much, so Adam is forced to continue the attacks. It's going at a slower pace, at least than hoped. As Genesis is literally the second strongest in the entire world. Adam is like fifth, and Arian is like 8th. The only reason why Nicholas is in the top 3 is mainly because Nicholas has a lot of modern equipment. You know, when it comes to basically land and sea, but not very good air force. Genesis is good in everything essentially. Nathan's strongest because, well, he just is. Manually also makes an attack into Adam, trying to help Genesis, which actually works. Adam can't attack into Genesis as long as Annalise attacking in Adam's own country. That doesn't stop Arian from keeping on going. Arian's now attempting to capture Genesis' entire southern coast, which goes almost entirely successful. Now it's time to add some capitals. Genesis capital, right here. Adam's capital is literally right over here. His capital is pretty far. Adam's capital is to the south, and Aaron's capital is to the southwest. It's literally right up on the coast. Mason's capital is right on the corner. That's all his capital is here. Allison's is here. Eliza's are down here. And Luna's capital is literally right here. And up here. Nation's capital is up here. Sanaya's capital is all the way over here. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. That's not right. There's one boy here. Hold on, wait. Not anymore. Nah, I'm kidding. We're not gonna wipe it off the map yet. Keyword yet. And then Arya. That is a lot of arrows down here. Anyways. Arya now decides to make a push towards Genesis' capital, which obviously Genesis is going to try to stop at all costs. Arian gets at least somewhere before being halted entirely. Matthias tries to make an attack into Genesis. Quentin, did you have to? By now. Matthias's capital is literally just a couple. It's literally about what, 30, 40 kilometers away from the front line, and Matthias needs to focus on that, not trying to win the war, because these Souths will literally be the first one to collapse on the fronts. So then Saddam is forced to send help. How? By invading Annalise. He gets Matthias in easier. Annalise doesn't want to get invaded, but luckily she has support. More from Arya and Isabel Fabian. Yes, there are 2 Isabellas in my class. It's insanity. Anyways. Yeah, so this group so far has had a lot of action, but let's go ahead and switch over to another theater. You want to? No, actually up here. Nason is the strongest country in the world. So, yeah, put them together with Eliza, about 11th. And yeah, you get a decent team. Problem, you're being invaded by other countries that aren't so bad. Like Allison was at 9th for some reason. This was partially randomly generated. I think. Sorry, some of the things, but hey, it was interesting. Also, a lot of the boys were stronger than the girls for some reason in this. I don't know why. And, well, this isn't good for Eliza. Poor old Eliza. He's gonna dance one last time. And then the girls move in on his capital. And they take Eliza's capital. And Mason is forced to invade Luna and Isabella Gonzalez. In order to, just to help poor old Eliza. Mason doesn't want to have to invade people. Invade too many people. Eliza is literally falling, but Nichols sends more support to Eliza. His last remaining torch, and Nichols' army manages to make a counterattack. Nichols and Eliza link up with Mason to surround the enemy forces in Eliza's capital. And then they manage to recapture it. Now heading south. Well, yeah, Lewis is like 7th weakest. So yeah, you know. Yuriko's like 7th, I think. She's in the top like 9, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Lewis, he's like 14th, 15th. Yeah, you know, he's just being invaded at this point. It was basically gonna happen. At some point or another, he was gonna get invaded. The boys stood no chance in this war. At the same time, though, Nichols decides to go rogue. And he attempts to capture Marcel's capital, which goes surprisingly well. Because Marcel was trying to help Utica take down Lewis. Marcel didn't pay attention, and Marcel inevitably lost her capital. But then Rachel starts sending support, and things start going a little bit worse. Nicholas' progress starts to slow down, so he just turns west. Makes more attacks for the north, and then pushes east. So yeah. And, yeah, the Hanish, he's a pretty strong guy. What was he, 6th strongest? He was one of the strongest ones. He was like 3rd strongest boy. 3rd or 4th, I don't know. I don't know who was stronger than Adam. Yeah, just essentially. And I believe Ario is actually 4th strongest, and Hamish is like 5th or 6th. So, yeah. We just jumped to the part where, like, like the boys just, like, that. I'm kidding. We're gonna go through the entire war. But it looks like we have our first Loi falling. Literally, like, fully falling. Anisha's capital falls. And Anisha's army is like, okay, we're done. You lost. GG, guys, but I'm done doing this. Like, Anisha's army is literally falling apart at this point. This is like after the first 3 months, so he's not fully gone, but yeah, just things ain't looking too good. Too good for what's left of his army. He's gonna be gone inevitably. Anyways, Annalie over here, the one I just circled, keeps on attacking Adam with girl support. With some Zelaya support. The managers to push towards Adam's capital. Meantime, Adam attempts to support Arian. And they manage to gain ground towards Genesis' capital. Obviously, though, Genesis makes a counterattack against Adam and Matthias in the north. As Genesis wants Loi into the peace treaty. Genesis invades Matthias last minute. Attempting to force Matthias to send soldiers to the southeast. The girls are attempting to take Matthias' capital. They have to push west. Instead of, like, normal. They have to try to surround it. Genesis' army pushes up the coast. All the way up the coast. Essentially, the boys have stopped winning in this group. The boys have somewhat of an advantage, I think, still, but not enough to really take advantage of. Obviously, though, Lear's sending support to Adam. So, yeah, it's essentially Lear. Adam having this new tanks, and Lear manages to link up with Arian this way. Cutting off a large part of Genesis' soldiers. At the same time, Matthias is on the brink of collapse, and Nicholas can't let this happen, because Nicholas is close friends with Matthias. So Nicholas sends help. After all, Nicholas doesn't have to deal much with Marcel anymore, because her army is already basically gone. Nicholas lands soldiers in Adam. And to basically save Matthias. And then Nicholas invades Annalie. His army uses Adam to invade Annalie. Speaking of Marcel, she's still being defeated. This is going to be a very long video, so yeah, just get the popcorn. We're also going to do more wars after this. Because, like last time I didn't get to cover what would happen after. Essentially, with Marcel almost dead. This group, Isabel Gonzalez is falling. It's beginning to fall. Although, she's getting help from Allison over here. This is Isabel Gonzalez. This is Mason. This is Luna. And this is Eliza. By now, Nicholas has already sent enough support, so they're able to afford to lose towards Eliza. Eliza now. While Nason's essentially on his own in his group. Same time in Lewis, his capital is surrounded. But Amir would never let this happen. Literally, he would never let it happen, though. Then Amir's like, hold up, can't do that. Then Amir essentially does this. And he threatens to surround them. So then they have to make a small retreat. Retreats that they can manage to cover the line. Let's retreat back towards the coast. Almost entirely. Let's go in the air. Nicholas's group is arguably the best for the boys. I mean, look over here. It's a complete mess. But the boys are almost taking out Genesis, depending on the science and Adam could die soon. Nicholas sending support to Ari now. Because, well, really, Rachel isn't that strong here. Marcel's army is literally just half dead already. And she has, like, no tanks whatsoever. Nicholas has quite a lot. Nicholas' tanks will roll through Marcel's flat terrain, and then Nicholas and Amir both attack Rachel now. Because, well, it was going to happen eventually. Actually, just face it. Both the boys can win in this group before the rest of the groups fall. Once the boys fall, oh, yeah, they probably could win. Obviously, though, Hanish, some people call him Handbone, is now basically dead. His two main pockets of resistance have shrunk down to a small beachhead in a small area, which inevitably surrender now. After all, Nathan's the strongest country in the world over here, so yeah, he has a decent chance against these guys. These combined, they're basically even. And they're close enough to even to the point that Nathan can still make gains because of his superior tanks. Bel Gonzalez is soon to fall. At the same time, though, in this group, Adam and Arian finally surround Genesis' capital. Meanwhile, though, the girls now just make an attempt to link up with Genesis' army, which they managed to do. This essentially causes Matthias to, well, start to collapse. Nicholas' army continues to invade Annalee. And they continue to go for the capital. Annalee does not want to fall. To essentially, just collapse, so Annalee decides to try to surrender. However, though, Adam and Matthias will find the land if the boys win. They surrender to Nicholas, because Nicholas' soldiers are the ones who captured the capital, because it just makes sense. Annalee doesn't surrender instantly, of course. It takes about another few weeks. Annalee decided to surrender after Nicholas surrounds a lot of her soldiers. But this also means that Nicholas can now easily help Matthias. Matthias' capital is barely saved. Nicholas' army continues. make its pushes. So it essentially runs out of manpower on the region. Arya, Samaya, Snowfade, and Dacia also are sending swords to Genesis, hoping that she can hold on. Genesis tries her hardest. Let's hold on. Adam and Arian close in on the capital. Genesis surrenders, then the boys can win. Genesis can survive, they'll turn the tables. Meanwhile, for Mason and Luna, he makes a big attack, and by now Luna just doesn't really want to do this war anymore. So Luna essentially just leaves the war for very little price. But what price exactly? Well, the price is that she loses this land to Mason. Yes, now Mason is slightly bigger. This is slightly bigger. So it'll pay the price of leaving the war. Then again, it also means that there is some distraction from the aim of fighting. Which is why Nicholas' forces and Eliza were trying to fight. It was a good fight, but the girls started getting support here. Some support. Or from these girls over here. They are sending support to these two groups. So they managed to capture much more of Eliza's land. However, though, that this is where things get a little bit awkward. It's not going to be perfect for the girls' war, because inevitably something that's going to happen to cause a boy to be on the boys' side or a boy to be on the girls' side. And who are able to handle that? When there's a stall incident, where Allison's troops cross over into Luna, causing a giant war. But she's Luna on the boys' team. However, though, that this isn't going to end very well, because Luna already can't have a big military because of her treaty with Mason. She can't have a very large military. But then again, Allison doesn't have a big enough military to really do much outside of Eliza. Meanwhile, Nathan continues his attacks as well as Gonzalez. Because Mason just can. Soon Mason is essentially out top in the group. So it looks like the boys can win. Or does it? Eliza continues to be pushed back. Even Luna's being pushed back. Meanwhile, in my group, just so you know, I'm Nicholas. That's my real name, dude. Anyways. So yeah, so essentially, my army is literally just rolling over whatever's left of Marcel's army. Marcel never officially surrenders, at least yet. He hasn't surrendered yet, but she probably will soon, due to her losing her main support from Rachel, who is now being invaded big time. Nicholas's group is doing good. Oh, wait, you're kidding me. I think we should just do this actually again. Well, not again, like the video, but I mean, like the whole thing. So we essentially have Nicholas and Amir focusing on Marcel for a little bit. Essentially pushing her back into the small corner. And then they start to invade Rachel more. However, though, with Rachel's capital under threat, things aren't looking good. But meanwhile, in this group, though, things also aren't looking good. For the girls, though. The girls, too. As without their name, without Annalie in the war, the girls up here can't really fight. So they're essentially locked into a corner, and then they just literally have to escape by sea. And now the Thias begins this counterattack. Then, Nicholas goes into peace negotiations with Genesis. But the people at the conference are Nicholas, Adam, Nicholas, Adam, Matthias, Arian, Genesis, and Arya are at the peace conference for Genesis. Matthias wants this land, not because he did most of the work. You should get the land. Harry thinks that he was the one who almost captured the capital, so he should get the land. Well, then things kind of broke down, so then Arya sent in more soldiers, and they managed to actually link up with some of Genesis' soldiers. But at the same time, Genesis' capital falls, which is not good for Genesis, because Genesis kind of needs her capital, because it's very important to her economy. So hence, Arya and Genesis make some evacuations, and then they make another peace conference. And they never really agree. Arya land up until this straight line. Adam gets land up till here, and then it goes almost straightly diagonally. Lance gets this land. Nicholas doesn't really get anything, really. The most that Nicholas will get is actually just basically a straight line north and south around Genesis' capital. However, in return for giving the Thias this land, Genesis gets all occupied land of the Thias, which is basically a lot of his coast. Correction. The arrow is landing here now. But now we see that essentially, also in Annalie Peace Treaty, you see Adam getting quite a bit of land. Nicholas getting land, including Annalie's capital. But basically, Nicholas's guards are basically good at guarding. Or anything, you gotta add on them about 1.5 to 1 to do it, and Nicholas has now 30,000 soldiers in each of these. Have fun taking over this. Anyways, well, there is now a problem, and that is, we're almost at the 30-minute mark. But it's fine. And besides, the Adam Empire has grown significantly. Arian has grown somewhat. Nikos has grown quite a bit, and so has Matthias. And though it looks like the boys are winning. So, some of the girls think that this is unfair. Some of the girls want a puppet state made out of a lot of the land that Adam earned. Nicholas also even agrees. And then things get kind of awkward, in a way. Because then we see Nicholas essentially go rogue. Nicholas literally goes solo. Oh, whoopsie. Nicholas quite literally just goes solo. He goes solo. Mostly because now Nicholas doesn't have much of a reason to help either side, so Nicholas is just going on his own. Not really well, he's just making the League of Neutral Countries. And in green, we have all the neutral countries, like Nicholas, Marcel, Genesis. And Genesis. I forgot we didn't do the 245 niche. Yeah, just essentially. We give some Nile out of the land. Or he also gets a lot of the land. And there's a small puppet state, which joins the League of Neutral Countries. Nicholas said that he will join the boys' team, and if they assure him that they will win. The boys cannot be assured of that. After all, just because they win on that one front doesn't mean that they win on the others. Nathan was so close to taking down Isabella Gonzalez by now. And then he just finally does it. He takes her capital, cuts off a lot of her soldiers, her supply. And then continues to essentially just start a small attack towards Eliza's capital. By now, Eliza decides just to switch sides. Now Eliza's completely just switched sides, and the boys are completely losing numbers. Nicholas' soldiers and Eliza, though, are still in Eliza and are taken in. And Nicholas doesn't see it again. Nicholas doesn't like this. But Nicholas is now leaning towards joining the boys' team. Nathan, without his support, can't advance much further. Nathan is now almost taken Eliza's capital. It's cut off the main supply roads to Eliza. And then Nathan finally invades Allison. Obviously, though, now Luna is now attempting to fight back. Also, because Luna kind of wants to look for some of the land that she lost back. So she decides to earn land and in this war. But then, though, Luna makes a private peace deal with Eliza, basically saying, I'll take this land and I'll leave the war. And Luna literally just leaves the war again. Which is fine in my opinion. I mean, many countries leave wars all the time. Now Luna's empire is pretty big. Well, Luna only lost this land, but she also gained this land. So yeah, it's still about the same size. Same time. Without Luna, Arya's free to send soldiers in. Soldiers to Eliza in a way. Luna wants revenge against Mason, and she plans to get it in the near future, in about a year or two. Mason soldiers at Eliza's capital push towards them to hold at the capital. But then something happened, which sees kind of something awkward happen. You see, Marcel's new government had a revolution, and now it's gone. Now it's being essentially communist. So then it joins the boys' team. And Nichols is against it, so Nichols joins the girls' team. Which is kind of awkward. But then again, Marcel's government's only been in power for like 3 months at this point, so bang bang don't get. Nichols essentially runs up to her capital, snatches the flag, and runs right back. And done. Literally done. Just like that. By now, Anir's kind of scared. And Anir literally becomes a mountain. Not literally, figuratively. Anir has literally became a mountain. Nichols is just very good at this fighting thing. Also because he has a lot of soldiers, apparently. Now Nichols is helping Rachel. And now Adam and Irene feel the trade. Now Nichols. Then again, Nichols wants the Thias to join the girls' team. Nichols claims it's now or never. The girls are already winning. The Thias realizes this. That the girls are winning. The Thias offers to buy land away from Genesis. The Genesis refuses. And that's all. Nichols is going to have to fight the Thias. The people in the Thias, however, kind of want the war to continue. So Nichols is forced to invade the Thias. Nichols just stabbed one of his best friends in the back. These are Nicholas's overseas departments that Nichols is trying to attack from. We also have Adam and Irene invading Nicholas's other overseas territories. And apparently, Genesis is also in on this. And this Nichols gangbang. Actually, no, she wasn't. She was on essentially her own team. Yep, Genesis is really just going on her own here. The rest of the boys didn't expect this. Just from Genesis. And Genesis also attacks Matthias. Matthias decides to surrender. But at no real price. Matthias really thought then he was invaded by Adam. And is invaded by Adam in order to essentially try to stop Genesis. And in order to set up a basically puppet regime. Obviously, Nicholas sets up a new government in power in Matthias' capital, which joins the war on the girls' team. Genesis annexes land. This makes large annexations of land, and an agreement to stop fighting with the boys. It was insanity. Now we're in what you gained. Now it's gonna be Genesis' new capital. This is still Matthias, though. Obviously, Adam's army continues to invade whatever was left in Matthias. They essentially just made an invasion. And Nicholas invades too. Also, this is a 1,000 view special. Additionally, now Nicholas and Adam have reached each other's soldiers, and now they begin to fight. Nicholas is not ready for a nature fight right now, so Nicholas can only make smaller gains. And Nicholas crosses into Adam's territory. And attempts to essentially stop Adam. With Marcel having lost her capital, Marcel essentially just surrenders. And now Nicholas is against Anir, so Anir's focused on that. So yeah, I should say things ain't looking too good for the boys. Lewis and Equitably surrenders. And at the same time, further east, we have Genesis actually invading Arian. This breaks their former agreements, but Nicholas is with it. Nicholas wants Genesis to keep doing this, but then, surprisingly, Genesis actually joins. He joins the girls' team again. Now, Nicholas can provide a lot of support. Support to Genesis. And Adam was literally losing everything that he had gained. But the boys had a secret weapon. The atomic bomb. ones who used it earlier. But now they were on the brink of collapse in this group. And in Nason's group at the same time, things were looking grimmer. Nason's ever-weakening army. And Luna went back to war with Nason. And for the first time, enemy soldiers stepped on Nason's soil. Enemy boots were now on Nason's soil. Nason wouldn't let this happen, as Nason is now on the defensive. Nicholas pressures Nason to join the girls' team before it's too late. Nicholas witnessing the fall of his best friend. Wants the war to essentially end here. After all, the boys are destined to lose. They only have 4 members left. Actually, make it 3, because without Lewis, there's nothing. Meanwhile, in Adam and Aryan, the girls are ever encroaching upon their land. Nicholas makes a landing near Aryan's capital. Despite heavy resistance, Nicholas captures Aryan's capital. This was insanity. And then there was a large fight. Large fighting in this area. Anyway, so then Aryan is essentially gone now. Aryan decides to surrender. Well, this is essentially it. The end of the road for Adam. The end of the road for Adam's army. This is now on its major retreat. The war is soon to end. Finally. And then we'll see the peace treaty. And we'll see what happens after. At the same time in Nason's group, he loses Isabel Gonzalez's capital. Isabel is still in the war. His army is back. And surrounds 100,000 of Nason's soldiers. Nason's army, Equalizer's capital, surrenders now. Nason's desperate for peace, as he needs it. Why does he need it? Well, it's simple. If he gets peace now, he might be able to hold on to a lot of his land. Or if he does it later, he'll lose a lot. Luna just asks for this land and a lot of her old land back. That Nason can do. Isabel Gonzalez allows Nason to keep some of his land, under the condition that he joins the girls' team. which Mason agrees. Then, that was essentially it for the war. Listen, then there's only one boy left. Genesis' army from the east, Nicholas' army from the north and west were encroaching on Adam's capital city. Adam's army in what used to be Matthias' land has been all but destroyed. What in the fighting? Adam's army has then pushed back into its coffin. And now it's the end of the road for the war. The Beltane attack. Genesis and Nicholas both got to the capital at the same time. Then, when they reached it, they completely burned it down. Adam inevitably surrendered. And these treaties that followed the war were insane. Nicholas and Rachel will divide up Marcellus on their land. Nicholas and Rachel would once again divide on the Ear's land. Nicholas also later could take a lot of Lewis's land. And Nicholas also takes a lot of it because Nicholas wants access to the Eastern Sea. So just look at these new borders. You're kind of cool, actually. Nicholas and Rachel got a ton of land from this. And then Geek also takes all this land. Meanwhile, in this group, some interesting things happen. First off, Matthias doesn't get all his land back, as they had to give something to Genesis and to Nicholas. Nicholas takes about half of Arian's land. Genesis takes this area. Although they haven't completely eliminated these countries. And in red, we'll have the countries that still exist from the war. That were originally the boys' team. Out of them, just a few still exist. Matthias is not in his original form, so he doesn't count. None of the boys really gained land aside from Mason. That's because he laid peace early, because that's a smart idea. So yes, essentially we have Genesis being a very big country now. But after the peace treaty happened, well, yeah. The war has concluded. The following this, things happen. Marcel Revolution. Marcel gains independence. And it's from Nicholas and Rachel. After a very long revolution. Independence, 4 years after the war. Soon, there's a new alliance. Nicholas, Rachel, Utica, Arya, Samaya, Genesis, Matthias, Mason, Isabel Gonzalez, Luna, Eliza, and Allison are all in this alliance. But against them is an opposing alliance. Anish, Daisha, well actually not Daisha, Stalfadian, Adam, Aryan, Marcel. These countries are against the alliance. Nicholas is in. But overall, after all, dude, it's like 5-12. Even if they're all even strength, it wouldn't be so fair. These alliances don't go to war. For now, they're just minor wars. That only encompass some countries. The first real conflict was between Eliza and Luna, with Mason supporting Luna. This wasn't like a revolution, this was a full-on war over a border dispute. Isabel Gonzalez is also against Eliza. Those are after about 3 months. And now, they began their attacks. They launched counterattack against Eliza's original offensive. Which essentially just sees a lot of attacking. Those attacks begin to be repelled from the Roma's capital. Versus capital is under threat. Yeah, so essentially we just have Eliza beginning to lose a lot of his land. But then, suddenly, Eliza's government is overthrown. And Eliza goes into a large civil war. These guys had a monarchy. And no one was really for a monarchy at the time. And these guys had control over almost all of the soldiers. They, by default, really had control over everything that Eliza owned. But these guys also didn't like Mason. So did the original Eliza government. They agreed to share power. But they just kept on invading, because they didn't trust this government. Nicholas is seeing this. And so does Allison. Oh, whoopsie. So then, Allison decides to invade Eliza in order to get as much land as possible before Eliza falls. Now he's being invaded from two directions. The Alliance doesn't see this as an act of aggression, as Eliza was the first one to attack. So yeah, it's a three-sided war. That's interesting. Allison and Mason link up around here. And with that, Eliza's essentially fallen. They're surrendered. And alright, and here we have the peace treaty. In the peace treaty, we see Allison gaining land. Luna gaining some land. And his Gonzalez getting land. Mason doesn't get any land. So yeah, so basically Eliza's wiped off the map. Obviously. Now, Mason's group only has 4 people in it. Meanwhile, though, in this group, we have Adam's first real act of aggression. Adam's attack against Annalie, as Nicholas had recently given Annalie independence. But Nicholas is still Annalie's protector. And by default, this puts Nicholas at war with Adam. Literally, that's the worst idea ever. Nicholas is literally the strongest country in the world, because Genesis lost almost all her strength when she surrendered. Mason lost a lot of it in the war. Nicholas didn't lose too much. That's all he had to deal with was Marcel and Rachel. And this also puts the Thias at war with Adam, as the Thias wants land, and this causes a domino effect. Which, yeah, and yeah, now there's like a west line and east line. It's weird. Well, Adam is stronger than a lot of these countries, but all of them combined, Adam doesn't stand really any chance here. So, yeah, he just invades Annalie. And he invades Annalie very fast. But then Nicholas invades from West Aryan. And Adam has actually moved his capital. But also somewhere deep within the country. Literally 200 kilometers from Genesis border. Which is now being flooded with troops. Swarming across the border. This was quite literally the most epic battles of the entire war happened. East Aryan's capital, though, is basically at the halfway point between Nicholas and Genesis. West Aryan and Genesis. Nicholas' soldiers invade from West Aryan. Genesis soldiers invade from the northeast. And they linked up and they managed to capture the capital. Aryan is now in 2 pieces. The larger one is now mostly manned by Adam's soldiers. And now, Adam is basically just invaded a lot. Adam attempts to peace out with the land that he has from Annalie, but this doesn't happen. because by the time peace negotiations are able to be started, Adam has already lost almost all of it. It's Nicholas's new offensive. Matthias also makes attacks. Obviously, though, this happening for several months. Adam's capital is soon to fall. To just like a lot of soldiers. Though, Nicholas's army is now just advancing. So, yeah. Basically, we have Adam just being completely destroyed from all sides. Henceforth? Good morning.
Good morning.
So then Nicholas now takes this land. Astarion is literally just shaved off by Genesis. Matthias also takes some land. And now, yeah. I think I should have just removed Adam from the map, right? Now he'll never come back from this. Nicholas gets some land to Italy. Astarion is now fully incorporated into Nicholas, and Astarion is now literally non-existent. Because it has like 5 people living in it. It has no economy whatsoever. And had no business in even being a country in the first place. So after the war, all the countries went back to peace. Then there was something else that happened. When I went to war with Hamish, Daisha didn't like it when people just went to war with random people. Arya essentially went into war on her own team. Hamish and Daisha quickly invade Zelaya. Arya invades literally both of them. It's both Zelaya and Hamish. Nicholas doesn't want to get involved with this war. This is happening like 6 or 7 years after. Obviously, there was now a major fight happening. Aisha is by no means as strong as Arya in this timeline. But then again, Arya is dividing her forces along a very long front line. So just essentially, Zanaya is just being completely destroyed. Zanaya has now just been literally just wrecked so far. Not just to add insult to injury. We have Zanaya's favorite thing happening. A revolution. He declares its independence from Zanaya. And then there's Zanaya has a lot of soldiers up here, so hence by default Zanaya has occupied this land. Now it's just like, yeah, this is just carnage in this group. Obviously, that was half rebel group. It's essentially just undefeated. Entirely just defeated. Arya reaches Zanaya's border. Zanaya's army now begins to make an advance, but without it having very much strength. Can't do much. Zanaya gets up to here.
Delicious flavors.
That's not the right one. Alright. So yes, essentially in this group we have Leash and Leash getting up to here. Arya pushing up to here. So yeah, so essentially they just get whatever land they have taken. Which means that Zanaya didn't lose too much land overall. She did gain all of this. I think she gained more than she lost in this scenario. They should get this land. And you should get essentially the small bit of land. And Arya just gets the rest. Essentially, this is what it would look like. Honestly, though, there's no fewer people in the group now. It's just like, like, there was one more for a short time, and now there's just back to 5 again. And there's Green. There's Arya, of course. And so, yes, essentially the war is now over. Out of the after effects of the war have really stopped at this point. In fact, there's really only one more war. That is Amir and Lewis's Wars of Independence. Independence, which are 3 major events. Amir declares independence first, proclaiming that his country has the land, rights on the land. That is all this. Lewis claims that he should own all of this. And they break off and form independent countries. Then, of course, these 3 guys don't like it, so a couple weeks later they go to war. These 2 countries. same time, though, this kind of causes an after effect in the rest of the world. Adam and Arian support Lewis. Genesis is like 50-50 on this. Genesis supports Nichols, but she also supports the new countries. Genesis is gonna be in purple, where she's like both. She likes both. Well, inevitably, these countries are still sad. They're still bad at, really trying to hold on in short wars and getting a quick victory. They're used to long, grueling wars that take years to finish. So when the enemy literally has just a couple thousand soldiers, and you have several 100,000, it kind of feels weird. Nicholas pushes out towards the nearest capital. Rachel pushes in this direction. Up into this essentially like bowl thing. And Utica just pushes down the coast. He pushes Lewis to get to his capital. So yeah, that's quite literally just it. Rachel decides to take some land from the near. Nicholas decides to also take some land from the near. Utica decides to take away some land from Lewis, and then just let them all free. After all, Nicholas is one of the oldest countries. And yeah, he's not really doing too good. All three of these countries are doing pretty good. But still. But this is where I'm gonna probably want to leave you guys off, because, it's been well over an hour here. We'll need it for the 1,000 view special. Goodbye, viewers. Thank you for 1,000 views.